Mama said there'd be days like this. Mama said, mama. Mama said, mama said, mama said. Mama's love. We got some echo going on. Okay, there we go. Nothing like mama's love. Good morning, everybody. I'm gonna need a few minutes, maybe 5. I'm gonna let this run though, but I will be back. You want to say good morning? And the plan is to really just watch the opening statements, maybe one testimony, maybe 2. I don't know, but we're not gonna do this the entire day. All right. Because I have a feeling it might be repetitive. I just think we follow the highlights of the trial. No, I want to be here the whole day. Why is Mel's screen black? It's black because the camera's off. I have to go get ready a little bit. I need a few minutes. I'll be right back. They're getting started. I don't know what time they're going to... They said 8:30 sharp, but I don't know if they're actually going to start with the... Probably be a few minutes. So I'll be right back. What's that?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I know exactly what
Good morning. All right. Actually says the camera's on. Oh, I didn't actually turn on the camera. Okay. Oh, I'm frozen now. Amazing. Okay, there we go. Good morning. I didn't even get to... Had to kind of rush, you know, because I had dropped off the baby girl, so early morning stream today. How do I sound? Is the audio good? Let me remove a little bit of suppression since there's nobody here. Nobody here. Let's take a little bit away. Oh, wow. What in the heezy? Amy, 50 memberships. Holy mo- Wow, that's a hell of a way to start the morning. That was this stream, right? Maybe when I stepped away. Holy crap. I need to fix my little dancing thing for the... Well, I just have Oprah now. I got Oprah, but I need to put the money music thing. You get a membership. You get a membership. You get a membership. Good morning, man. Yo, it's cloudy, rainy, nasty over here. Perfect weather to be like chilling in the house. JPC, thank you for the 10 months. Says good morning. Deneth, welcome to the membership. JPC, good morning. Manny, thank you for the 5 memberships as well. Thank you so much. We got a lot of members, man. A lot of new members. That's cool. We got to do another members live again. By the way, for all the new members, if you go to Ick and Mel on YouTube and you click my name, on the front page there's a playlist for the members videos, so you can find them. Front page, you just scroll down. I moved it up more to the top so it's easier to see. The last one was 3 days ago, I believe. I always sometimes forget to add the videos to the playlist, but we have a playlist right here. And you know, you can just click it too, and if you want to see all of them, and like a bunch of them pop up and stuff. All right. Also, if you're interested in joining the mailing list, we're almost at 600 people. If you're interested in joining the mailing list, let me see. All contacts. Let's see what it says here. 594. So, if you're interested in joining the mailing list, check it out. I've been sending emails out, not a lot. What I think I want to do is like once a day, Monday through Friday, and it's just like links to the videos that we're doing for the day, or if something breaking is happening, or maybe videos that you missed, or if I have an announcement. Like for example, this morning I just sent out one very simple email, just letting people know if you have notifications and they work for you, then you'll more than likely be fine. But sometimes I put like announcements and stuff like that, but very, very simple email. That's it. Oxford school shooter's father. You click it and it takes you to the live stream. That simple. I've sent out different ones with like multiple links. There's been times too, like I'll send out like 3 links, maybe videos for the day, live streams for the day. So if you like that kind of thing, consider signing up. I'm not selling your email or anything like that either. It's just me. I'm the person managing it. It's just me. Got a black screen. Edward Moskowitz, I know that's Julie. Thank you for the 5 memberships. Appreciate that. The audio's good too. It's an unusual sunny day in Scotland. Scotland. I watched the really... Oh my God. Wow. Look at that. So many gifts. Mandy too. Thank you, Mandy, so much. Wow. It's raining. I got to add the... I don't know why that video disappeared. I got to add that video again. For some reason, maybe I deleted it. Also, I don't know what's going on with Court TV. Let me find out about that. Maybe they told them to turn the cameras off while the jury comes in. Oh, we got law and crime too. Let's just... Here he is!
People versus James Crumbley, case number 2.
What's in his ear? Let's watch this one. I want to watch this one.
Good morning, Your Honor. Marielle Lehman on behalf of James Crumbley, who is standing to my left.
Good morning. Mr. Crumbley, can you hear us?
I gotta pull up the volume.
Be seated.
Actually, hold on. Which one has better audio?
I have items for you. The first would be about, I believe, about exhibit 35, 53, and 62.
It's two different camera angles.
The shooter, Jennifer Crumbley.
I don't know why. Okay, let's do this.
At least that's what the metadata in the GPS shows. So
I'll bump up the volume.
62.
All rise. Court is now in session. The Honorable
Oh.
Shirley Matthews presiding.
And the court warning is,
So they're behind. I think the audio is better on Court TV. It's louder and clear. Let me see. Well, Court TV's having issues. It just blacked out again. Maybe we'll stick with Law and Crime then.
by pictures and texts and
Probably audio, but
metadata and all those things, all those tools that are being used by the prosecutor's office to track people's movements in this case. So they are together, but there's no
Your Honor, calling people versus James Crumbley.
proceeding end.
yeah, Court TV's having problems.
And in fact, I know that in both
Okay.
52 and 62, the
We'll stick with
statement
this.
from Jennifer Crumbley appears, "Where's your dad?" So I don't find that there's enough support to believe that Mr. Crumbley was aware of these texts. He could have been aware of these texts. We just don't know. And because of that, those texts will not be admitted. And that also makes, I think, some of the information at the horse barn inadmissible. Clearly, if Mr. Crumbley were to testify, or if it became relevant, I can see the prosecutor saying, well, do you raise horses? Did you spend a lot of time with your wife horseback riding, whatever it might be? So the pictures of the defendant and his co-defendant at the horse farm might be relevant and might come in for other reasons. But the texts between the shooter and his mother will not be admitted because there's no evidence that the defendant knew about those. So that's that. I think you then asked me about Exhibit 78. Exhibit 78 is in conversation, I don't recall if it's Instagram or
It's text.
text.
It's just,
And it's between the shooter and his friend. And it's a text that says, "Hey man, times have gotten rough ever since you left. I don't know if you're dead or you moved away, but I hope you're doing well. I'm about to do something really bad and there's no turning back, so I'll probably never be able to see you again. I hope the best for you and I'm sorry for anything I've ever done." And that's dated November 30th, 2021 at 8:21 in the morning, the date of the shooting. And it's to the shooter's friend who's been previously not identified by name, but identified in this case. So I read a series of cases, including the case submitted by the prosecutor in this matter, to indicate that there is an exception in this matter. But there's not, but this is not hearsay evidence.
It does
I read
sound
a series
muffled.
of cases interpreting that issue, and might come in for other reasons. But the
It does
text
sound way better
between
here.
the shooter and his mother will not be admitted because there's no evidence that
Turn
the
it down a little
defendant knew about those. So that's that. I think you then asked me about Exhibit 78. Exhibit 78 is in conversation. I don't recall if it's Instagram or
That's true. She does sound kind of.
it's just,
and it's between the shooter and his friend. And it's a text that says, "Hey man, times have gotten rough ever since you left. I don't know if you're dead or you moved away, but I hope you're doing well. I'm about to do something really bad and there's no turning back, so I'll probably never be able to see you again. I hope the best for you and I'm sorry for anything I've ever done." And that's dated November 30th, 2021 at 8:21 in the morning, the date of the shooting, and it's to the shooter's friend, who's been previously not identified by name but identified in this case. So I read a series of cases, including the case submitted by the prosecutor in this matter, who indicate that there is an exception in this matter. That there's not, that this is not hearsay evidence. But I read a series of cases interpreting.
I guess he's hard of hearing. Damn, they even put mask on the headphones.
One of those is peaceful
COVID protection.
Stubble, I think it's 149 Mich at 42.
Wow.
In that case, hearsay testimony was given by a prosecuting witness who testified that the defendant had approached her several times to discuss prostitution. And in that matter, the challenge to the evidence concerned the witness's testimony that one of the older men propositioned her friend. So this
background noise
text in Exhibit 7.
So you guys like the other stream better? The other audio?
Under 8033. 8033.
This one sounds like the ocean? Okay.
applies if
All right.
it-
All right, hold on. All right, let's try this one then. Let's see what you guys think. Better to figure it out now before they start opening, you know?
Although the defendant's state of mind.
So there's a difference.
The shooter's state of mind.
I feel like this one, though, it sounds lower and I can increase the volume for you guys. This one has some type of noise suppression that they added, I think. So you hear less of the shh.
Requests.
I'll just bump it up.
Facebook messages. I believe those are 160.
The problem with noise suppression is sometimes the quality of the audio deteriorates. Kind of. I deal with that all the time. So like right now, I took off some of the noise suppression a little bit 'cause I'm home alone. You
Oh,
know?
I'm sorry, 118, 133, and 153.
150.
What are those?
So I'm not going to roll on 133 right now. There's something else I want to look into, but I find that 118 prosecutor notes 801C. I believe that that entire chain is hearsay and does not fall under any hearsay exception. So I will not be admitting under
Morning, Bill.
118. Sorry, Mr.
Rise and
Keith, did you
shine.
say 153?
Be glad you weren't here for the last night's mess. I don't think you were here for that mess. The stream wasn't that bad.
133, but I'm gonna pass on that. I'm gonna have to look at 153 again.
Somebody say Ryan Garcia got knocked too hard by Devontae
118,
when
153,
he lost that
was the
fight.
same text conversation. It's just a different portion of it. It's the last text. It's the text from Jennifer Crumbley that says, Ethan, don't do it.
Okay, all right. I can get back to you on that, right? You don't need to know before. Okay. So with regard to 133 and 153, I will continue my homework assignment.
Dream, I probably would use it without covers.
Just want to recap.
Not
make
thinking
sure the
about it.
record's clear.
But maybe that's
Court's
right. Maybe that
ruled
makes
on
sense.
Exhibits 45, 52, 62 today.
I mean, I wouldn't put it inside my ear, but if it's over ears, maybe. Maybe I just wipe it down with some alcohol and that's it.
121. Those are two different photographs.
The CC?
Ruled inadmissible yesterday. We redacted photographs 258,
Oh, I didn't turn it on.
259, and
Shoot.
260. They were an issue.
I'll
We gave
use
a copy
that.
to defense counsel this morning.
Okay.
We agreed to limit Exhibit 80 yesterday. That's the DoorDash text message.
She does
conversation,
mumble.
just
She does.
26th to 30th of November.
Okay.
And the rest were ruled to be admissible yesterday.
Is that your understanding as well?
Yes, Your Honor.
And the court's to reserve on 133 and 153.
133 and 153, and you're rolling before openings for those.
I do not, Your Honor. And I'm sorry, Mr. Keith, did you indicate 118 was also not admissible? Was ruled on
I
today?
should have, yes.
Okay.
133.
Oh, she's there. The attorney, the
I
previous
also
attorney.
wanted to ask you, there was
Is
some
that her?
discussion yesterday that members of the media have requested a copy of the questionnaire that was provided to the jurors. I don't have a feeling about it either way, but if you agree to release it, I will. If you don't, I won't. So I don't.
I really don't have an opinion. Now that the jury's impaneled, I don't see an issue. Why not?
The defense also does not have an opinion on it, Your Honor.
All right. So anybody who wants one can email the chambers and we'll give it to you, all right? So, we're adjourning.
We have one more on that. When we were coaching.
Yeah, I can't believe Amy dropped 50 memberships. Holy moly. Oh, Lord. I'll mute that for now. Yeah, I watched a really interesting video on Garcia. I gotta share the video or put a link in the description. I thought it was really, really well put together. I don't know what I did with the link. Oh, here it is. This kind of gave a good timeline of the recent events of Ryan Garcia and what kind of happened. I got through most of the video, but this one was really good. They go through some of the... I didn't even know this guy was on a PB whatever podcast. They also set him to a restriction. Dave's team insisted on a 10-pound rehydration clause for the 24-year-old. I didn't know either that he lost the fight to Devontae. And people are saying they don't think he can win against the other guy either, Devin. They say like he's setting himself up for these fights that he's probably not going to win. PBD podcast. I actually like this guy. He went on this podcast. I didn't know that. But this one kind of, I like the way they broke it down. Even the gambling problems.
Deeply entrenched in gambling debts and being exploited as a fish in high-stakes games.
But I know about the poker games that he's losing millions of dollars at because I've played at some of those games and they tell me how much of a fucking fish he is. Basically, he just throws money. He's like an idiot.
So hey, I will verify that by Bryce. I've got a lot of buddies at the top level of the poker games that run through Cali and Vegas, and he's definitely a fucking fish that loses a lot of money at the poker tables.
It's really weird how he took a 2-year hiatus from boxing, and then now randomly he's like, oh, I won all these money fights. Oh, yeah. Because he's losing all of his money at these poker tables.
This accusation might not be unfounded, as he often discusses his anticipated earnings from upcoming fights rather than focusing on winning in the ring. While many MMA fighters
This is a really, really good video. I'm going to put it in the description because I learned quite a bit.
Bro, looking good, training good. I'm laughing because I'm high.
That's what I like. What's next for you?
I'm gonna beat Sean O'Malley's ass in MMA. I never let it do a
Ryan.
And when I saw comments like this, let me unmute this real quick. They're still talking. When I saw comments like this was like more confirmation that these people just want to see him burn as entertainment for them or whatever. Errol trying to have a discussion with a high teenager. I'm a fan of this new coked up Ryan. After seeing this interview, I think Ryan is slowly turning into Kanye West levels of delusion. So, I mean, to me, it's obvious that guy's going through something. But, I might have to hit you up next time, Hoax, to get the scoop. But what I'll tell you is, now I'm interested in the fight. I want to see the fight when that happens. April, when is it? It's in April 20. If he actually even does the fight, I don't know if he's trying to do all this crazy shit to get out of the fight. But it's April 20th. I did not know who Ryan Garcia was, even though he is popular and he's well known. I didn't know about him, and now that I do, and I've seen all this wild shit, I was like, all right, I want to see what happens at this fight. Now I'm gonna watch that fight. I don't know if that's what the purpose was. And after all that crazy stuff about all these things that are happening to kids in Israel, and he said he's going to meet Netanyahu, then all of a sudden it's like he snapped the finger and he's back to normal. He's just talking about boxing now. Unless somebody's running his Twitter and that's not him. Could be somebody running his shit. That I agree, Hoax. That's what I was seeing some of the comments. If it was for promotion, it worked. But then I saw somebody commented too, but why would he destroy himself and his reputation? But all he has to do is come back and be like, yeah, I got some therapy and I feel so much better and I think you guys should get therapy too. And maybe he apologizes, maybe he doesn't. And boom, it's a redemption story. He got a bunch of promotion, not just for the fight, even his Twitter account. I heard blew up in followers and stuff. So all of a sudden, you know, from all that stuff with these kids, my question was like, what about those kids you said you saw and the evidence you said you have? Why not give it to the FBI?
Because I'm going to swear you in. All right?
So from that to bloop.
Can you all
All right.
raise your right hand?
Make sure you tune into my fight.
Members of the jury have been chosen to decide a criminal charge made by the state of Michigan against one of your fellow citizens. I'm going to ask you to swear to perform your duty to try the case justly and to reach a true verdict. If your religious beliefs do not permit you to take an oath, you may instead affirm to try the case justly and reach a true verdict. Here is your oath. Do each of you solemnly swear or affirm that
You don't think it's going to happen in the fight?
before the court, you will
Projo?
justly decide the questions submitted to you, that unless you're discharged by the court and from further deliberation, you will render a true verdict, and that you will render your verdict only on the evidence introduced and in accordance with the instructions of the court, so help you God.
I heard Hanny say he's been trying to change the date of the fight.
I appreciate you being on time. I do. I have to give you some initial instructions, and then you're going to hear other things today, all right? And don't try to write down what I say because I speak way too quickly, and because you're going to get a full copy of these instructions when you go to the jury room, all right?
I feel like she needs a microphone directly up to her face.
I'm going to explain to you some of the legal principles you'll need to follow during the trial. I'm going to tell you the elements of the charge. The defendant is charged with 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter. The prosecutor has alleged 2 separate theories of defendant's guilt, which may be established under either or both of the two theories. The first theory of involuntary manslaughter is doing a grossly negligent act causing death. To prove this charge under the first theory, the prosecutor must prove each of the following elements beyond a reasonable doubt. First, in count 1, that the defendant caused the death of Madison Baldwin. In count 2, the defendant caused the death of Tate Muir. In count 3, the defendant caused the death of Hannah St. Juliana. And in count 4, the defendant caused the death of Justin Schilling. That is, that Madison Baldwin, Tate Muir, Hannah St. Juliana, and Justin Schilling died as a result of storing a firearm and its ammunition so as to allow access to the firearm and ammunition by his minor child. There may be more than one cause of death. It's not enough that the defendant's act made it possible for the death to occur. In order to find that the deaths of Madison Baldwin, Tate Muir, Hannah St. Juliana, and Justin Schilling were caused by the defendant, you must find beyond a reasonable doubt that the deaths were the natural or necessary result of the defendant's act. Second, in doing the act that caused Madison Baldwin, Tate Muir, Hannah St. Juliana, and Justin Schilling's death, the defendant acted in a grossly negligent manner. Gross negligence means more than carelessness. It means willfully disregarding the results to others that might follow from an act or failure to act. In order to find that the defendant was grossly negligent, we must find each of the following 3 things beyond a reasonable doubt. First, that the defendant knew of the danger to another. That is, he knew there was a situation that required him to take ordinary care to avoid injuring another. Second, that the defendant could have avoided injuring another by using ordinary care. Third, that the defendant failed to use ordinary care to prevent injuring another when, to a reasonable person, it must have been apparent that the result was likely to be serious injury. As previously noted, the prosecutor has alleged 2 separate theories of defendant's guilt. The second theory is gross negligence in failing to perform a legal duty. In the second theory, the prosecutor must prove each of the following elements beyond a reasonable doubt. First, that the defendant had a legal duty to Madison Baldwin, Tate Muir, Hannah St. Juliana, and Justin Schilling. The legal duty charged here is one imposed by law. In Michigan, a parent has a legal duty to exercise reasonable care to prevent their minor child from intentionally harming others or prevent the minor child from so conducting themselves in a way that creates an unreasonable risk of harm to others if the parent knows that they have the ability to control their minor child and knows of the necessity and opportunity for exercising such control. Second, that the defendant knew of the facts that gave rise to the duty. Third, that the defendant willfully neglected or refused to perform that duty, and his failure to perform it was grossly negligent to human life. Fourth, that the death of Madison Baldwin as to count 1, Tate Meir as to count 2, Hannah St. Juliana as to count 3, and Justin Schilling as to count 4 were directly caused by defendant's failure to perform this duty. That is, that Madison Baldwin, Tate Meir, Hannah St. Juliana, and Justin Schilling died as a result of defendant's failure to exercise reasonable care to control his minor child, so as to prevent him from intentionally harming others or from so conducting himself so as to create an unreasonable risk of bodily harm to others, knowing that he has the ability to control his child, knowing of the necessity and opportunity to do so.
I'll show you guys the
of
ending of the chase when they pause, when they break.
Made it possible for the death
Let me pull it
to
up.
occur.
I'll have it on.
In order to find that the deaths of Madison Baldwin, Tate Meir, Hannah St. Juliana, and Justin Schilling were caused by the defendant, you must find beyond a reasonable doubt that the deaths were the natural or necessary result of the defendant's act or failure to act. With respect to the alternate theories, it's not necessary that you all agree on which theory has been proven, as
I
long
pulled
as
it up,
you
so when we get a
all
break,
agree
I'll show
the
that.
has proved at least one of those theories.
I want to show something
beyond a
else.
reasonable doubt.
Anybody in the chat heard of the guy named Isaac Cappy? Flossie brought it up to me, and I saw a few people comment it, and they thought about him when thinking about Ryan Garcia, and also these QAnon people involved themselves again and saying it. He actually killed himself, but QAnon says he was killed because he exposed Hollywood. I guess he was telling the truth. That's what I say. Like, these QAnon people, sometimes they fuel these people with mental health issues, light a fire under them for their own purposes and beliefs.
And you'll hear them over and over again, and they'll also be in your jury instructions.
I was curious if everybody heard of that guy.
You get at the end. Every crime is made up of parts called elements, and the prosecutor must prove each element of the crime beyond a reasonable doubt.
They take advantage of people that are having mental health problems.
If you find that the prosecutor has not proven every element beyond a reasonable doubt, then you must find the defendant not guilty. A reasonable doubt is a fair, honest doubt growing out of the evidence or lack of evidence. It is not merely an imaginary or possible doubt, but a doubt based on reason and common sense. A reasonable doubt is just that. A doubt that's reasonable after a careful and considered examination of the facts and circumstances of this case. I want to mention that you see cameras in the courtroom. I don't want you to be concerned about those.
Yeah, cults do target mentally vulnerable people. It's true.
Will not be taking your picture at any time, so I want to make sure you know that. A trial follows this procedure. First, the prosecutor makes an opening statement.
Oh, he did? Went off to Tom Hanks?
The prosecutor gives their theories about the case. The defendant's lawyer does not have to make an opening statement.
I don't know much about Isaac at all. I don't know anything. But I remember I saw people referencing him, so I started pulling out some articles. Maybe we can read about it. The whole thing, Ryan, man, if this was just a troll promotion thing, that'd be wild. And he did a good job, and he's, it's a pretty shitty thing to do, though. But
cross-examine the prosecutor's witnesses.
But his family seems concerned for him. His friends,
presented all of their evidence.
His real family seems concerned.
Also offer evidence, but does not have to. By law, the defendant does not have to prove his innocence or produce any evidence. If the defense does call any witnesses, the prosecutor has the right to cross-examine them. The prosecutor may also call witnesses to contradict the testimony of the defense witnesses. After all the evidence has been presented, the prosecutor and the defendant's lawyer will make their closing arguments. Like the opening statements, they are not evidence. They are only meant to help you understand the evidence and the way each side sees the case. You must base your verdict only on the evidence. My responsibilities as the judge in this trial are to make sure that the trial is run fairly and efficiently, to make decisions about evidence, and to instruct you about the law that applies to this case. You must take the law as I give it to you. Nothing I say is meant to reflect my own opinions about the facts of the case. As jurors, you are the ones who will decide this case. Your responsibility as jurors is to decide what the facts of the case are. This is your job and no one else's. You must think about all the evidence and all the testimony and then decide what each piece of evidence means and how important you think it is. This includes how much you believe what each of the witnesses said. What you decide about any fact in this case is final. Part of your job in deciding what the facts of this case are is to decide which witness you believe and how important you think their testimony is. You do not have to accept or reject everything a witness says. You're free to believe all, none, or part of any person's testimony. In deciding which testimony you believe, you should rely on your own common sense and everyday experience. However, in deciding whether you believe a person's testimony, you must set aside any bias or prejudice you may have based on the witness's disability, race, national origin or ethnicity, gender, gender identity or sexual orientation, or religion, age, or socioeconomic status. There's no fixed set of rules for judging whether you believe a witness, but it may help you to think about these questions. Was the witness able to see or hear clearly? How long was the witness watching or listening? Was anything else going on that might have distracted the witness? Does the witness seem to have a good memory? How does the witness look and act while testifying? Does the witness seem to be making an honest effort to tell the truth? Or does the witness seem to evade the questions or argue with the lawyers? Does the witness's age or maturity affect how you judge his or her testimony? Does the witness have any bias or prejudice or any personal interest in how this case is decided? Have there been any promises, threats, suggestions, or other influences that affect how the witness testifies? In general, does the witness have any special reason to tell the truth or any special reason to lie? All in all, how reasonable does the
as well, investor.
all of the other evidence
What
in the
the
case?
fuck is up with that?
When it's time for you to decide the case, you're only allowed to consider the evidence that was admitted in this case. Evidence includes only the sworn testimony of witnesses, the exhibits admitted into evidence, and anything else I tell you to consider as evidence.
Oh, it's a song. Okay.
The questions the lawyers ask the witnesses are not evidence. Only the answers are evidence. You should not think that something is true just because one of the lawyers asks questions that assume or suggest that it is. I may ask some of the witnesses questions myself. Sometimes I assume if I'm confused about something, someone else on the jury might be. These questions are not meant to reflect my opinion about the evidence. If I ask questions, my only reason would be to ask about things that may not have been fully explored. If you can't hear something that is said or presented, or if you cannot
Rick Bell, victim and
see a witness
whistleblower.
evidence, please raise your hand immediately. During the trial, the lawyers may object to certain questions or statements made by the other lawyers or witnesses. I'll rule on these objections according to the
I'm gonna check it out after this live. I don't know if it's copyrighted or not. I can't tell, but yeah, there's a video of this guy singing brackets and jackets.
Also, while you're in the jury room, I may have to take care of other matters that have nothing to do with this case. Pay no attention to these interruptions. You must not discuss the case with anyone, including your family or friends. You must not even discuss it with the other jurors until the time comes for you to decide the case. When it's time for you to decide the case, I'll send you to the jury room for that purpose.
Greg Poe said he's been getting abused by somebody,
only in the jury room and only when
Nickelodeon, a big time person, Nickelodeon, I guess.
To the defendant, the lawyers, the witnesses, or anyone who may be connected to this case. This means that you may not speak to these individuals, even if it has nothing to do with this case. You should be very cautious about speaking to people because you may inadvertently speak to someone connected to this case. This restriction is necessary to avoid even the appearance of any improper conduct on any person's part. If anyone tries to discuss the case with you or in your presence, tell them to stop. Explain that you're a juror and that you're not allowed to discuss the case. If they continue, leave. Report the incident to court staff as soon as you return to court. When the trial is over, these restrictions no longer apply. When the trial is over, you may, if you wish, discuss the case with anyone. I mentioned before
Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson.
It's helpful. I guess I'm hopeful and it's helpful that you wear your badge because that sort of alerts people in the courthouse that they shouldn't be chatting you
On
up,
Netflix.
Okay? All right.
Live on Netflix.
During the trial,
Wow.
do not read, listen to, or watch any news reports about the case. Under the law, the evidence you must consider to decide the case must meet certain standards. For example, witnesses must swear to tell the truth. The lawyers must be able to cross-examine them. Because news reports do not have to meet these standards, they could give you incorrect or misleading information that might unfairly favor one side. So to be fair to both sides, you must follow this instructions. The restrictions I'm about to describe are meant to ensure that the parties get a fair trial. In our judicial system, it's crucial that jurors are not influenced by anything or anyone outside the courtroom. Under the law, the evidence you must consider has to meet certain standards. For example, witnesses must swear to tell the truth, and the lawyers must be able to cross-examine them. Because information obtained outside the courtroom does not have these safeguards, it could give you incorrect or misleading information that might unfairly favor one side. These restrictions start now, well, really yesterday, and continue until I discharge you from jury service. It's your duty as a juror to decide this case based solely on the evidence that you see and hear in the courtroom. You must not consider information that comes from anywhere else. This means that until you deliver your verdict, you must not read, watch, listen to, or receive any information, including opinions or commentary about the case, whether in newspapers, on television, the radio, the internet, or on social media platforms. You also must not research any aspect of the case during the trial. This means research using a cellular phone, computer, or other electronic device to search the internet, as well as research with traditional sources like dictionaries, reference manuals, newspapers, or magazines. You must not investigate the case on your own or conduct any experiments concerning the case, including investigation or experiments using the internet, cellular phones, computers, or other electronic devices. You must not visit the scene of any event in this trial. If it's necessary for you to view or visit
a lot of disclaimers.
Court staff will take you there as a group under court supervision.
A lot of
You must
disclaimers.
not consider as evidence any personal knowledge you have.
Yeah, so again, I don't plan on covering the whole trial because I just feel like there's going to be a lot of repetitiveness that we've already heard on the previous one. So like I figured today we'll just do opening statements. Maybe we'll listen to like the first or two testimonies maybe, but I feel like there's just so much other stuff we can cover before the next trial. I don't want to like lock us in right now. If it somehow turns to be some amazing thing, then we'll do it. But I figured opening statements, if James decides to testify, definitely I want to see that. Maybe the defense, whatever they're going to try to bring, because the defense is usually pretty short and like closing arguments or whatever. That's it. Because tomorrow I want to do P. Diddy. I'm going to set up a stream later for tomorrow. I was thinking 10 a.m. Eastern to give people some type of time. Because I know there's people on the Central Time and West Coast Time. I was thinking tomorrow we do the Diddy thing. I don't know if we're going to be able to do it all because it's like 70-something pages, but I figure we'll have to do two parts. One in the morning-ish time, afternoonish time, and then one in the evening maybe to finish it off, if that. P. Diddy, maybe Drake Bell. I don't know if later today or whatever. I'd like to see the Nickelodeon story too. And Garcia, I don't think there's going to be any other updates with Garcia unless he flips out again or, whatever. It seems like he's just going to be doing his thing for the boxing stuff. So, yeah.
Decide which of you will be dismissed to form a jury of 12. Possible penalty should not influence your decision. If you find the defendant guilty, it is my duty to fix the penalty within the limits provided by law.
I think Tyson is retired, but
more instructions throughout the trial.
I'm sure they're getting a big check from Netflix because that's going to bring so much, maybe signups. I already have Netflix, so I'm assuming that comes part of it. I'm going to be watching it Saturday, July 20th. I would watch it just for the entertainment. That's going to bring they're going to get a lot of money on it. They're definitely getting big checks for that, for sure.
It's important for you to maintain an open mind and not make a decision about anything in the case until you go to the jury room to decide the case. You must not let bias, prejudice, or public opinion influence your decision. Each of us may have biases or perceptions about other people based on stereotypes. We may be aware of some of our biases.
Yeah, you're right,
do not
folks. Exclusive Netflix,
We may not be fully aware of some of our other biases. Take the time you need to test what might be automatic or instinctive judgments and to reflect carefully about the evidence. I caution you again to avoid reaching conclusions that may have been unintentionally influenced by stereotypes. You must reach your own conclusions about this case individually, but you should do so only after listening to and considering the opinions of the other jurors who may have different backgrounds and perspectives from yours. All right, so we're going to hear openings. Prosecutor.
Finally, openings. Okay. Prosecution.
On November the 30th, 2021, James Crumbley's 15-year-old son walked out of the boys' bathroom in Oxford High School holding a 9mm handgun. James Crumbley's son walked out, he pointed, he aimed that 9mm and fired it 32 times over the course of the next 9 minutes. He fired that weapon at teachers and students. He killed 4, wounded 7, and terrorized an entire community. James Crumbley bought that gun that his son used to kill as a gift for his son 4 days before the attack. James Crumbley failed to secure that gun in a way to prevent his son from accessing it. Anna was 14 years old. Madison Baldwin, she was 17. Tate Muir, he was 16. Justin Schilling, 17 years old. These are the 4 students who never made it home that day. What happened inside that school was truly a nightmare come to life. But it didn't have to. That nightmare was preventable. There are 3 people in this world who are criminally responsible for the deaths of Hannah, Madison, Tate, and Justin. The shooter who committed murder, no doubt he's responsible. But so are his parents. But not for murder. They're responsible for their gross negligence, for involuntary manslaughter. Because that nightmare was preventable and it was foreseeable. The shooter's case is done. The shooter's mother, Jennifer Crumbley, her case is done. You're here to decide the level of gross negligence of James Crumbley. And you will learn throughout this trial that he was the adult out of anyone in the world in the best position to prevent these kids' deaths. You're going to learn that those kids would still be alive today had James Crumbley seized any one of the tragically small and easy opportunities given to him to prevent his son from committing murder. Any one of them. These were opportunities that were literally given to him, yet he disregarded. During this trial, you're going to hear about events from the spring of 2021 through December of 2021. November of 21 is the critical time period, especially November the 30th. But that earlier evidence is going to give you some context into the family life in the Crumbley household. It's going to give you some context to learn that the shooting didn't just happen out of the blue. The shooter didn't snap. What happened was foreseeable, especially to his father. I'm going to talk to you about some of the evidence that you're going to see through this trial. And we'll start with this. This is a 6-hour 9mm handgun. This was a firearm purchased by James Crumbley as a gift for his son on November the 26th, 2021. This is a picture taken by the shooter, found on his phone, the day that gun was brought home. This is a Instagram post from the defendant's son. The next day, November the 27th, 2021. That's after his mom took their son to the shooting range to practice with that gun. Took my new SIG out to the range today. Definitely need to get used to new sights, LOL. This is a post from Jennifer Crumbley, the shooter's mother, the defendant's wife. That same day, November the 27th of 2021. Mom and son day testing out his new Christmas present. My first time shooting a 9mm. I hit the bullseye. You're going to learn that it wasn't just those 2 extra magazines for the handgun in the plastic case that came with it when James Crumbley made that purchase. You see, he was given the tools to make that firearm safe. He was provided a cable lock. It was provided by the manufacturer, by Sig Sauer. It went to the firearm dealer who sold it to James Crumbley. It was for that gun. This is what it looked like the day the gun was purchased, November the 26th, 2021. This is what it looks like now. Still in its original packaging, still with both keys in the lock.
That's what we were saying in the first trial.
The decision that James Crumbley made to buy that gun as a gift for his son.
It's interesting they didn't
was made
highlight
even
that.
though he knew that his son was in the midst of total and complete social isolation.
Did they watch what everybody was saying?
Spiral of distress that had been going on for some time. You'll see evidence that as early as spring of 2021, the shooter had expressed to his one and only friend that he had asked his father for help. He told him to suck it up. That was in April of 2021. You'll learn that instead of receiving help or intervention of any kind, James Crumbley instead began to take his son to the shooting range, even buying himself a .22 caliber Kel-Tec semi-automatic pistol, and his son a different gun, .22 caliber 2-shot Derringer. That was June of 2021. They would go to the range together on a consistent basis over the next few months. We have evidence of a number of trips, and you'll see some of that. Some of this background is going to shed light on what happened in November of 2021. This is a pivotal month in the Crumbley home. As I said, the shooter had one and only one friend. That was no secret. James knew about that. You're going to see evidence that the shooter and his friend would communicate with each other throughout the day and throughout the night. The level of data on that text message conversation alone dwarfs everything else on the shooter's phone. You'll hear evidence that there were over 22,000 text messages in just 1 year between the shooter and his friend. Those two shared quite a bit with each other. This is the friend that the shooter confided in when he asked his father for help. That friend was taken from the shooter at the end of October 21. He didn't just move schools and go to another town. He was taken out of state without warning, without notice, and without a way to communicate. The impact on the defendant's son was severe. His entire social connection was severed, and James was there to know about it. You see, he wasn't working at that time. From November the 1st to November 9th, he didn't have a job. And when he did work before that, it was from home. When he did get a job on November the 10th, it was for DoorDash, where he could set his own schedule and decide when he did work and when he didn't work. It was also during this month of November that the defendant's son began to write in a journal. Some of that is going to be permitted to be shown to you, and Judge Matthews decides what you see and what you don't see. The portions you'll see is that the defendant's son wrote about how he was begging his parents for help, how he's begging for a more powerful 9mm handgun to commit the school shooting, and how he's able to obtain access to the murder weapon. Again, this evidence is important for you as background to what happened on November the 30th, but it also gives you a glimpse into the level of knowledge possessed by James Crumbley when he made the decision to buy that Sig Sauer 9mm handgun for his son on November the 26th, and then, just as importantly, what he decided not to do the morning of the shooting. You see, James Crumbley was afforded what might have been the easiest, the most glaring opportunity to prevent the shooting, a full 3.5 hours on November 30th before the first shot was ever fired. Because he was shown this. This is a math worksheet. These are drawings and writings from the defendant's son, November 30th, 2021. One of his teachers saw him doing this, took a picture of that and sent it to the shooter's counselor. The counselor came down and took the shooter out of class, brought him to his office to find out what was going on. You will learn it took that counselor all of 20 minutes to decide that immediate parental intervention was required. He made that decision even though he had about a fraction of the knowledge possessed by James Crumbley. You see, this drawing, as well as an altered version created by the shooter, were both sent from that counselor to Jennifer Crumbley, who shared it immediately with James Crumbley before they arrived at the school. The severity of the situation wasn't lost on James and Jennifer Crumbley either. They expressed their concern about what they see here, the words "help me," blood everywhere, a picture drawing of a gun, of a person with 2 bullet holes in blood. They expressed their concern about that drawing to themselves in Facebook messages. This is Jennifer Crumbley, she's in blue. Call now, all caps, emergency. This is November the 30th, 2021 at 9:33 in the morning. Followed simply with emergency. Then she sends her husband, James, the defendant, both the original drawing as well as the altered version of it that the shooter created. That's at 9:38 in the morning. James Crumbley's response, "My God, WTF." And then he says what he was actually doing that morning. "Vet not here. It's McElmurray's for Purist horse. Still waiting on the vet." You see, James and Jennifer Crumbley spent quite a bit of time away from the home, tending to their horses. That's what he was doing the morning of the shooting. Jennifer Crumbley, he said he was distraught about last night. "James, we talked about it this morning." "You talked to him?" "Jennifer, can you call?" Then heading to his school, "I'm very concerned." That was at 10:04 in the morning. Unfortunately for everyone, they kept that private concern to themselves. They didn't share it with the school counselor. Despite what they knew, despite what they thought, James Crumbley and his wife, neither one of them, mentioned anything about the gun being purchased for him 4 days before the shooting. James Crumbley didn't say a word about how that picture of the gun that his son drew looked identical, that you will see, of the 6 Sauer 9mm. They didn't say anything about the prior request for help. James Crumbley didn't mention anything about the severity, the real circumstances of the shooter's friend being taken from him. They didn't just fail to inform in that meeting, though. They also failed to act. It was recommended at that meeting that James and Jennifer Crumbley get help for their son then, immediately, that day. And they were provided with a list of resources with mental health providers that would fit any budget, any insurance plan, or even no insurance at all. But they didn't. James Crumbley didn't do anything. Jennifer Crumbley didn't do anything. Neither one of them called. They didn't take him home. The reason given to the counselors that they had to work. But James didn't mention that as a DoorDash driver, he set his own schedule. He didn't mention that he hadn't even signed in for the day for DoorDash yet. He was at the vet. Or that as a DoorDash driver, he was able to just put his son next to him in the car. It was one of the most glaringly missed opportunities. But instead of seizing that incredible opportunity that was before him, James Crumbley spent the next 2 hours driving around town making deliveries, never once bothering to stop by his house, which was just a mile away, to check on the whereabouts of the gun that his son drew. Even when he drove by the house to do so, never once. The gun that he knew was kept unsecured. That is until after the Oxford School District sent out an email blast to all district parents of an active shooter situation. You'll learn that that email reached James Crumbley about 1:10 p.m. And by pure happenstance, James Crumbley was at the exact location that parents of Oxford high school students were told to go in case of emergencies. Their reunification point was the mire on Ray Road next to the high school, directly adjacent to it. By pure coincidence, he happened to be at the exact location where hundreds of people were scrambling to get to. But he didn't stay. That's when he went home. That's when he went home to look for the gun. And that's because he knew. You will hear that there was one and only one person who called the police that day to identify their kid as the suspected shooter. It was James Crumbley. This nightmare, these murders, were preventable by him, foreseeable by him. During this trial, you're going to hear from between 15 and 20 witnesses. I do need to tell you that you won't hear from the shooter. Neither side is entitled to call him to the stand. You won't hear from Jennifer Crumbley. Again, neither side is entitled to call her to the stand. But you will hear a lot about what happened in the days, the weeks, the months before the shooting, specifically November the 26th and November the 30th. Again, those are the critical days. What happened from the 30th, from the time of the meeting to the time that first shot was fired. You're going to learn that throughout the investigation, investigators obtained information from social media accounts, from cell phone forensic analysis. They obtained banking records. They obtained GPS pings. So you're going to be able to put together a bit of a digital footprint of the Crumbley life. You're also going to learn what James and Jennifer Crumbley did after the shooting. Evidence will be presented to you to show that the defendant and his wife withdrew as much cash as they could, and they tried to liquidate their assets. They were found hiding from the police in the city of Detroit in an art studio on December the 4th, 2021. That's after they were charged with these crimes. Which you will never hear, and I want to make sure this is clear, you will never hear any allegation that James Crumbley knew what his son was going to do on November the 5th, that he bought the gun knowing what his son was going to do. If he bought a gun knowing his son was going to commit mass murder, then he'd be charged with murder. There is no claim that James Crumbley gave his son that firearm hoping he would murder 4 students. So then the question becomes, how is it that a father can be held responsible for the intentional acts of a teenage son? And the answer to that question is twofold. There's 2 reasons. First, it's important to remember that James Crumbley is not charged with murder. He's charged with involuntary manslaughter. Murder, or aiding and abetting murder, is an intentional crime. Involuntary manslaughter is rooted in negligence. It is by definition, causation, an unintentional killing. Second, it's because it takes a rare and specific set of circumstances to rise to the level of involuntary manslaughter when there are multiple causes of death. A rare set of circumstances. Those rare circumstances you will find present in this case. It takes gross negligence. It takes causation of death. And it takes that other person's acts to be reasonably foreseeable. Those are the 3 elements that must be proved. And that's what Judge Matthews is going to tell you. You will learn that the law says that in this situation, there are actually 2 different ways to find this defendant guilty of involuntary manslaughter. You're able to pick either because the law allows you to do so. Involuntary manslaughter is committed when someone's actions or inactions are grossly negligent, or their failure to perform their legal duty as a parent was grossly negligent. That gross negligence caused death, and not the cause. It was a cause of death. And that's important because the judge is going to tell you that there may be more than one cause of death, such as this situation, as long as that other cause was reasonably foreseeable to him, to the defendant. Not to everyone else in the world, but to him. The father who bought the gun, the father who raised the shooter, the father who knew what was going on in his life, the father who suspected him as a school shooter, well before his name was made public, well before anyone from the police department told him it was his son. The law allows multiple people to be held responsible in this case. And that's going to come to you from Judge Matthews. Gross negligence is the failure to use ordinary care to avoid a known danger, even though it was apparent to a reasonable person that serious injury would result. It's the willful disregard of danger. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why we were here. James Crumbley's willful disregard of danger and his failure to use just ordinary care, when he was the one who knew the background, he was the one that knew the origins of this drawing. Him sitting in that counselor's office, looking at this drawing, and then not only staying silent, but then his failure to act, right there, is his willful disregard of danger. Right there. You're going to hear a lot of evidence and arguments in this case. It's important that we all understand that you're not here to decide on parenting. This case isn't about parenting. It's not illegal to be a bad parent. It's not kids doing kids things. We're here to talk about a preventable mass murder. No one will ever suggest to you that every parent can or should be held responsible for everything their teenager does. That's not the law. No one will ever suggest that to you. But in a situation where the father was in a position to reasonably foresee what the son was going to do, because the father armed him 4 days before and was shown a clear statement of intent of what the son was going to do. That is when that rare set of circumstances is present, in these specific set of facts. James Crumbley is in charge with what his son did on November the 30th. James Crumbley is charged with what he did and what he didn't do on November the 30th. That is a very important distinction. That is what the law allows. That is what we were asking you to do. This case is not about guns. It's not about even how all guns should be stored in the home. It's not about gun laws.
So what are we talking about?
This case is about this gun for this kid with these issues, not secured, when shown this picture. That's what this case is about. When this kid was begging for a more deadly weapon. That's why we're here. I ask that you listen to the testimony, you review the evidence, and you follow the law. If you do that, you will undoubtedly reach a fair and just verdict. If you do that, you will find that James Crumbley was one of the 3 people in this world criminally responsible for what happened on November the 30th, 2021. And you will find him guilty as charged. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Case. Ms. Lehman, would you like to make an opening statement?
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you. The events of November 30th of 2021 undeniably changed people's lives in ways that most people could never imagine. 4 children lost their lives. Families were destroyed, and a community was terrorized. But this case is not about what happened inside of Oxford High School. This case is about what happened outside of Oxford High School. The prosecution alleges that James Crumbley was aware that his son was a danger to others, and that he failed to protect other people from his son. The prosecution alleges that James Crumbley had knowledge that his son could and would hurt other people, and that he failed to protect those people, that he failed to take steps to protect others. And ladies and gentlemen, that simply is not true. You will hear evidence in this case of what occurred inside of Oxford High School. You will hear the prosecution's version of what they claim James Crumbley may have known. You will hear that a gun was purchased on November 26th of 2021 by James Crumbley. You will hear what kind of a gun it was. It was a handgun. You will hear how it was stored. You may hear where it was stored. you will hear whether or not Mr. Crumbley's son knew where that firearm was. Pay attention also to what you don't hear. Pay attention to that you won't hear that James Crumbley knew that his son knew where that firearm was. Ladies and gentlemen, James Crumbley was not aware that his son had access to that firearm. You will hear testimony that access was not allowed in James Crumbley's mind. Ladies and gentlemen, you will not hear that James Crumbley knew what his son was going to do. You will not hear that James Crumbley even suspected that his son was a danger. That math homework that the prosecution is putting up on the screen, you're going to hear about that. You're going to hear about what other people thought about that. People at the school, including James Crumbley. There's going to be probably quite a bit of discussion about that piece of math homework, ladies and gentlemen, and you're going to hear all about it. Ladies and gentlemen, James Crumbley did not know what his son was going to do. He did not know that his son could potentially harm other people. He did not know what his son was planning. He did not purchase that gun with the knowledge that his son may use it against other people. You will not hear that he did that. The prosecution told you that. The prosecution just told you you're not going to hear that. You're not going to hear that James Crumbley purchased that gun with the knowledge that his son was going to go harm other people. But what the prosecution wants you to believe, the part that's not true, is that James Crumbley knew what his son was going to do and knew that he had a duty to protect other people from his son. Ladies and gentlemen, that's not true. He didn't know. You're going to hear about James Crumbley's relationship with his son. There may be other witnesses who testify about that, about how James interacted with his son, including on the day when that math homework was shown. You're going to hear from other people. They're going to tell you, in their own words, what they observed about James Crumbley and his son, about what they observed about his son, about any concerns they may have had. Other people, not just James Crumbley, but other people with additional education, additional training to evaluate situations like this and evaluate individuals. You're going to hear from those people probably. And they're going to tell you in their own words what they thought about the math homework, about Mr. Crumbley's son, about Mr. Crumbley's interactions with his son. Yes, James Crumbley was a DoorDash driver. We all know that. It's been said multiple times. Ladies and gentlemen, being a DoorDash driver doesn't mean that your job is any less important to you or other people than any other job. It doesn't mean that you don't feel that you have a duty to go to work. And ladies and gentlemen, when you're not aware of an immediate, imminent danger, why would you do anything different than what you normally do? You wouldn't, because you don't have any reason to think you need to. So ladies and gentlemen, you're going to hear the evidence. You've heard a lot of questions in the last couple of days from both the prosecution and myself. You probably have an idea where each side lands on these issues. But you're going to hear the evidence. You're going to hear from people other than us. And you're going to be able to hear in their words what they thought about those days from November 26th to November 30th of 2021. And their feelings, what they observed, any concerns that they may or may not have had. The prosecution has asked you repeatedly to follow the law. I'm going to ask you to do the same thing. Please do follow the law. And I'm confident, we are confident, that if you do that, if you follow the law, that you will find James Crumbley not guilty. Thank you.
That's it.
Should give him a little break. I'm going to give you a little break so you might have to do a little bit of setup in the courtroom, and then you're going to hear the first one. So for about 10 minutes, about 5 minutes.
All rise for the jury.
Yeah, I definitely can't see myself doing the whole trial for this because there's probably going to be a lot of repetitive parts. I mean, I'm sure there'll be new things maybe, but I just think we can cover a bunch of other different things. in the meantime, till we do the next trial, which the next trial we're going to do, I believe, is Karen Reed. I believe Karen Reed. I saved the list that Amy sent me the other day, but I think it got all lost in all these files I have in my download area. They're taking a break. I'm going to wait and see for the first witness, and if it's just blah, then I think we'll call it for now. Like I said, I'd like to do the Sean Diddy, whatever you call him, Puffy Combs tomorrow, the lawsuit. Like somebody said earlier, I don't actually probably don't need to read all 70-something pages, but we'll go through it. I'm going to skim it tonight to see what we can go over. And I'm going to look into Sebastian too to see if there's any updates. I don't really see anything right now though, as far as Sebastian updates.
We're breaking down, right, Judge?
Yeah, I'm just trying to get rid of some paper.
I saw this article that had this body cam that looked kind of interesting. Oh, this is it. I'd like to know. Wow, it's a crazy shootout. This was just dropped today. I'm trying to find the full video of that, because maybe we can watch it on the second channel later. Let's see. I'll send this link to BL. Maybe she'll find it. Oh yeah, I did send you the link already. Okay. I think Los Angeles County. There's James. Oh, you don't think it's going to go to trial? I don't think Karen Reed will even go to trial. Interesting. Oh, you know what? Did they push that back again, or is it happening in April? Let me try to find this Los Angeles. Los Angeles County. I think it should be on this page. Let's see. I don't see it on this page. Gotta be somewhere. Oh, it's on YouTube, maybe. Los Angeles County. Let's try YouTube. YouTube. Mr. Tire. Oh, I'll play the video. You're right, Amy. I'll do that. Here we go. Is this it? Maybe inappropriate. Yes. Okay, we got it. I got it. I think we'll do that today too on the second channel. It's probably gonna get demonetized this afternoon before.
Go back. Yeah. Okay. Around, turn it around. Oh, my mic here.
This afternoon before, I don't know, and maybe 2 hours we'll do that. I want to watch this body cam. It's about 10 minutes long. It's this crazy shootout that happened. It's from January 27, 2024, but they just posted it about today or a day ago. And they age restricted it based on community guidelines. So I'll have to make sure I age restrict the video. I'll just age restrict it. I remember YouTube gave one of the LA Los Angeles Police Department's channels a strike. I was like, damn, bro. They even going after the channels. I don't give a shit. All right. So yeah, the aftermath of yesterday's thing. And I'm actually, what I'm going to do, I'm going to try to do it today. I'm going to make a little, Luffy and Mo had sent me some clips, but Luffy sent me like the whole thing, I think. Later on, I'm going to try to put the highlight of the chase together, and I'll include this clip. But this is the aftermath. Apparently they crashed. I don't know if this is the clip that you guys are talking about to share with everybody. I think this is it. Apparently it crashed. Oh, it's really loud. Let me just turn on the volume. The guy took off running. Look at that. Hauling ass. Ooh, running. They tackled his ass. Ooh, what is it? Is that a real shotgun, or those are the less than lethal? Wow, look at that on rims. There he is. No delivery for you. Oh, look, that we did do a poll yesterday about like who or what was in the back. One of the options was migrants. The other one was like home improvement, etc. Because it's a Lowe's truck, so that's what it was. It looks like there's like maybe a refrigerator and appliances or whatever back there, and then nothing. Because I've seen people steal nothing non-lethal. I've seen people steal nothing in like an empty truck. So, all right. Now, I know a lot of people are wondering too, Mr. Tire, what happened to Mr. Tire? I think they made a post on Instagram. Let me just double check and see. I think they're on Instagram. Mr. Tire. Let me look up Mr. Tire. Wow. An 11-year-old has died after participating in Crumbley, a TikTok trend involving inhaling toxic fumes. That's why, like, I don't fuck with like TikTok like that, man. For kids, that thing is a kid's platform, but kids are doing things that kill kids on there. I can't. It's just too much weird shit on there. Tommy Lee Gracie Billington suffered a suspected cardiac arrest on Saturday after taking part in a dangerous craze called chroming. His heartbroken grandmother, Tina Burns, says he attempted a stunt while staying at a friend's house. Chroming is known as huffing or sniffing, is where someone inhales toxic chemicals such as paint, solvent, aerosol cans, cleaning products, and petrol. Wow. Any parents out there, it's always good to know what the challenges are. I mean, my daughter's pretty young, but she did ask me about. She said one of the kids in her class, she's 7. She said one of the kids in her class got TikTok, and I'm just kind of like, no, like I'm good, not right now. Sorry, but I think I need to actually. I think the best thing to do is actually to sit down and explain to her why, instead of just saying no. So I probably should have a talk with her about that. I pull up I don't know which page is Mr. Wheels. Maybe it's on Facebook. I thought I saw them make a post yesterday. Mr. Wheels. Here. No. Apparently there's a lot of places called Mr. Wheels. Here it is. Is this it? They posted okay, so this is the post for Ventura. Mr. Tire, always ready to lend a hand. And they literally hashtag car chase. You might as well, right? Get it while you can. Car chase, hashtag CHP, hashtag go fast, hashtag Ventura, California, police chase tires, wheels, speeder, 101. Might as well. I mean, get the promo out of it. That's what the comments said. Whoever was trying to stop that guy is a hero. Please promote him. He did what he had to do. He did what the cops refused to do. CHP took resources away from the chase to ticket Mr. Tire driver for reckless driving. Really? Is that true? While letting the Lowe's truck guy get away. Insane. Well, actually, they get him though, but if this is true, the CHP, their lack of engagement, need to be reminded of the mission statement to protect and serve. Did they really ticket him? They're saying he got ticketed. Let the Lowe's guy almost kill people, sent resources to ticket Mr. Tire. Should be a much bigger story. I said it yesterday. I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised they went and ticketed this guy. Or like, I thought maybe he would have got arrested or something, but a ticket sounds more like something maybe they would do. I mean, though I saw that on a different chase, the vigilante guy, it looks like they arrested some other guy in a different chase that did somewhat the same thing. That's crazy, man. The police often feel that they're the only protectors of the citizens and the only ones allowed to break the law in an emergency, forgetting we all have the duty under the Constitution to defend the Constitution and that we are all allowed to break the law within reason to stop a crime in progress. That Mr. Tire Driver is a hero. He was trying to, and that's why some people say, that's why these people that, that's why people don't, nobody intervenes anymore when somebody needs help and shit and they're in trouble. I forgot that guy in New York. I don't know the whole story, but that guy in New York intervened and tried to whatever, and he got charged because the other person ended up dying. And it says here, thanks for the brave driver. I will now be using Mr. Tire on all. I'm down. I don't know if they can ship tires out here. I'll buy the shit. Next time I need tires, Mr. Tire for all my vehicles. He will not be fired at all. That's dope. I was worried that maybe the people would get rid of him. Wow. Wow. So maybe I can add this portion of the live stream to the highlight clip of the chase and put it together. Really watch this trial, mom, daughter trial. We watched the opening statements and like 2 testimonies maybe. And then we watched the interrogation video. We didn't watch the whole thing. Mostly we watched the first one, the first interrogation video. Did they push Chad? I thought Chad was starting earlier. An article on Mr. Somebody who sent me this, Jeannie or Jeanne. Sorry if I'm saying it wrong. The driver of that second box truck, which belongs to the company called Mr. Tire, based in San Bernardino, ultimately pulled over on Highway 23. It's unclear if that driver was injured, but while the rest was caught on video, officers located the truck 30 minutes later on 101 freeway. Oh, they deployed a spike strip and successfully deflated the left front tire. CHP in a press release. Our officers initiated an enforcement stop on the box truck and vehicle failed to yield to our officers' lights and sirens. CHP said the suspect tried to flee by driving over a curb. He ended up getting stuck in the dirt and vegetation shoulder in the city of Ventura, on Ventura Boulevard at North Bank Drive. Officers gave the driver verbal commands to exit the vehicle, and the driver refused to comply. The press release said our officers deployed kinetic energy munition. What the heck is that? And the driver agreed to exit the vehicle. Whoa! Whoa! Kinetic energy. Kinetic means moving, right? Like a type of force moving. Isn't kinetic like just on its own? Like, I forgot the whole thing. It's the science, isn't it? Kinetic. I forgot that shit mean. What is kinetic? Kinetic energy. The kinetic energy of an object is the form of an energy that it possesses due to motion, right? So like something rolling down something or whatever. The energy of motion observable as the movement of an object or subatomic particle. So what the hell? What's a kinetic energy weapon? What? Or munition? Let's see. Like a bullet or kinetic energy weapon, this type of ammunition does not contain explosive payloads and uses purely kinetic energy to penetrate the target. Oh. Oh, so it doesn't like explode. The goal of such munitions is to persuade the unwilling party to comply. Okay. All right. So maybe it's like a less than lethal type of thing, like you guys were saying, and it's a type of munitions that doesn't like explode or whatever. Wow. I was going with taser. The other story, this guy. Oh well, actually, I'm going to mention this one story, but I wanted to see real quick too. Okay, you got the full body cam, which is great. I was just curious if Inside Edition said anything about Garcia. No, I don't think so. Missing 3-year-old found only wearing diapers. Oh. Okay. Isaac, I'm going to have to listen to his music later. But Isaac Cappy is an actor dead after he forced himself off a bridge, and it was hit by a car. That's crazy to go off a bridge and then get hit by a car. He was 42. The actor had a small role in Thor, died at the scene of Belmont after being struck by a car. Arizona Department of Public Safety spokesman Bart Graves said in a statement, on May 13, 2019, at 7:26 a.m., troopers were called to the Interstate 40 eastbound at Transwestern Road milepost for a subject who forced himself off the Transwestern Road bridge onto Interstate 40. He was then struck by a passing car. The man had been identified as 42-year-old Isaac Cappy of Albuquerque, New Mexico, I think. Mr. Cappy died on scene. Graves said the incident was being investigated as an unaliving. Before his death, Cappy wrote a lengthy post on Instagram, which he captioned, "Beware the man that has nothing to lose, for he has nothing to protect." Within the post, Cappy wrote, "Over the course of the last week, through introspection that should have happened many years ago, I have come to some stark revelations about my character. It is a testament to my utter arrogance that these revelations had not come sooner. You see, I believe myself to be a good guy. I have not been a good guy. In fact, I have been a pretty bad guy throughout my life. I have sold drugs. I have tax delinquencies. I have debts. He says I have abused my body with cigarettes, drugs, and alcohol. I've been abusive to people who love me, including my family." He went on to say he committed an act so flippantly without thought that will become synonymous with short-sightedness and petty, vile greed. Although he did not provide further detail, the actor apologized to his friends, as well as one of whom, Paris Jackson, who accused Cappy of choking her at a party they were both at in 2018. "To the many people I have acted abusively towards, I am very sorry," Cappy wrote. "To my former friends I have used and betrayed, I'm sorry. To those I have deceived, I'm sorry, although I must say, in my sheer arrogance, I did not even realize that I had been a bad actor all along." He continues saying, "I have been lacking in gratitude, humility, honor, service, and proper care for others. I have not honored the light of God within. This lesson has come too late for me, but perhaps it can inspire you. I'll be using the remainder of my time on earth to atone for my transgressions and to seek the light within in others and myself." Throughout his career, he appeared in films such as Terminator, Salvation, Thor, and The Babysitter. And so people were saying he was trying to expose the elite. Let me see what else they have on him. Thor, Beer Fest, Lemonade Mouth, Clown Camp Massacre, Fanboys, Terminator Salvation, St. John of Las Vegas. Been in a lot of movies, I guess. Other movies too.
Struggle against darkness. This struggle against darkness consumed me. It consumed me. Yeah, I'm a bad guy. I'm a bad guy. I let the darkness consume me. I'm not suicidal. I'm not going to tell you what I did because at this point, it still could endanger people, and I don't want to do that. Can you help me? You can pray for my soul.
Did Isaac Cappy take his own life, or was he silenced by Hollywood elites? This man was an actor who decided to expose the industry. He called out creeps like Seth Green and Tom Hanks. Before Isaac passed away, he made it clear he did not want to die. But then suddenly, he was hit by a car on the interstate. Was this Isaac Cappy's choice, or did someone stop him from sharing the truth? So let's get into it.
Oh, that's slow? Oh, I just typed the random video. I didn't know that was slow. He's this huge YouTuber. I thought he had passed 1 million though, but he's 968,000. I thought it was. I didn't know that was him. Isaac's death. Terminator Salvation. I just read that post, the Instagram post. All right.
2 years old when officials confirmed that he was struck by a Ford pickup truck after hurling himself off of a bridge onto an interstate, which sounds like a really tragic way to go. I mean, to go from a bridge to a busy highway and then to be hit by a car sounds like an absolute nightmare. State troopers were called to the scene at 7:26 a.m.
Several bystanders tried physically restraining Cappy from jumping, but failed. So there was witnesses to the event. Okay, it's not like he just. I mean, he did jump off, but it's not like because there's people who think that he was killed. Like there was a hit put out on him, but according to this article, it says there were several bystanders who tried to physically restrain him from jumping, but failed to hold him.
To expose all of these creeps in Hollywood, and for
in recent years, he had become obsessed with exposing the pedo stuff, the P word in Hollywood. And in this video, he talks about letting that effort take over his life.
People to understand who their favorite actors really were. And a lot of people made it clear in a video that he did not want to do that.
It consumed me. Yeah, I'm a bad guy. I'm a bad guy. I'm a bad guy. I let the darkness consume me. And I didn't spend enough time nurturing the light and love within me. I did something really dumb. I'm not suicidal. I'm not suicidal. Did I do it for money? Yeah, man, it's bad. It's so dumb. It's so fucking dumb. I'm not going to tell you what I did because at this point, it still could endanger people. And I don't want to do that. So, can you help me? You can pray for my soul.
And the look at his Stallone's face. Yeah, I just read that too as well, that post. I don't know, it seems kind of interesting. The 21-year-old model had allegedly received rambling and scary. By the way, the volume in the background's on. Rambling and scary texts from her former pal. Sources claim that she initially responded to them to help him because she thought he was going to hurt himself at the time as well. She was later forced to move home and hire extra bodyguards, along with blocking Cappy's number. Wow. Lord. Oh, boy. Shirley says Caleb Montgomery was granted parole. Caleb Montgomery will be released in May. I'm not surprised. Not surprised. I think I remember some people were saying that in the chat when we were covering that trial. I don't know, man. I mean, I know there's weird stuff that goes on in Hollywood, and you see about these child stars that had horrible things done to them, and then they grow up and they're screwed up. You know, I really do believe that stuff like that does happen for sure. I mean, you just look at the Diddy stuff. I don't know if there's this mass organization or if it's just a bunch of different individuals that are sick with power and sick and doing that. I don't know if it's like concerted effort, but the trafficking stuff is a concerted effort, right? Like there is like rings and stuff like that. And when this guy was saying he's a bad man and he can't say, I wonder if they had some type of pictures or video of him doing something. Because like I thought the Diddy stuff, I thought people were put in compromising positions and maybe recorded. I forgot who said it. It said that the guy had cameras all over the house and shit, cameras and video and stuff. I don't know. Tomorrow, we'll get into the Diddy thing tomorrow. I'm going to try to skim the PDF to have an idea, maybe, of what we're going to do. Who was that guy? I'm thinking of this guy that killed himself too in Hollywood. They did this really famous movie. Right, like it's so ambiguous. All of them did probably something famous, but there was this guy, I can't remember his name because he was threatening to Corey Feldman or something. Or Corey Feldman's alive, but isn't it like his friend killed himself? Corey Feldman. Has he ever done his expose of Hollywood? His friend offed himself. I forgot the friend's name. I felt bad for that kid. Corey Haim, is that the guy? Corey Haim? I'm looking at an article. Haim, who hailed from Ontario, Canada, had auctioned his role in The Goonies that went to Feldman, but instead he scored a title role as sensitive, smart, and bullied teen in 1986 Lucas, featuring Winona Ryder. I think it was Corey Haim then, right? Rhyme?
Your Honor, calling
That's the one that's
James Crumbley, case number 22279-989-FH.
Thank you. Good morning, Marquise, on behalf of people.
Karen McDonald on behalf of the people. Good morning, Your Honor. Mario Lehman.
He died from pneumonia, though.
Standing to my left.
Maybe I'm not thinking of the right guy. I thought he had a friend. Corey Feldman had a friend that offed himself. I don't know who it is. I don't remember. Corey Haim's downward spiral and tragic death. So they said he struggled with drug addiction throughout most of his life, but an autopsy revealed that pneumonia was the true cause of his death. The Lost Boys. They also bonded and shared over the history with the dark side of Hollywood and allegedly as victims of its supposed ring of peas. I almost wonder too that some of these people that just got so much money that like they can do whatever they want in the world, and then like just everything's just boring to them. They got to just like do some crazy wild shit because like, they've done everything already. I don't know. Just bored. So Kayla's gonna be out, huh?
All rise for the jury.
All aboard.
You may be seated. I'm asking who's the first witness?
Molly Darnell, Your Honor. May I get her in the hall?
Sure.
Oh.
Could you raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, so help you God. Could you step up and have a seat? And would you state your name for the record, spell your first and last name?
Molly Darnell, MOLLY DARNELL.
May I proceed? Good morning. Can I call you Molly?
You can.
Okay. And Molly, I know you testified a couple times, so keep your voice up. And if you want me to slow down or you don't understand the question, just let me know.
Okay.
Okay. Can you tell the jury what you do for a living?
I'm an educator.
Okay. And where are you employed?
I'm employed at Oxford Community Schools.
Yeah. I'm thinking a lot of this is going to be a repeat. I mean, salute to the people and the witnesses that are having to do this over and over, to get justice for these kids. But I think, like I said earlier, we're just going to watch the highlights of the trial. So, because I think most people didn't want to sit through the whole thing. I think people would rather we just cover different stories. And really, maybe a few stories a day, too, at least, maybe if possible. And honestly, so much happens. Like even yesterday, I was kind of like, I'm not sure what I'm gonna do. We'll see, blah blah blah. Because I thought James Crumbley was gonna be yesterday, and look how like out of nowhere it just got busy with the chase and the one thing I was trying to do. All right, so we'll leave it at that. I think what I'm gonna do today around 12 Eastern or maybe 1. I'll schedule it ahead of time. We're going to watch that body cam. Hopefully, I just want to make sure I can actually show it. I mean, they have it on YouTube, so it should be okay, I guess. I will age restrict is what I'll do. We'll watch them in the second channel. I'm going to look at all the updates that I can for any of the stories that we've been covering. If not, then I don't know. Prepare for tomorrow. No, I just muted it. But all right, I'm gonna call it for now, guys. Thank you so much. We've already seen this witness. We know the story.
Or teaching assignments so that you can spread kids out.
So yeah, I'm not gonna do that. But you can if it's on Law and Crime if you want to watch it. If you guys, people that actually want to watch the whole trial, you can watch like Law and Crime or Court TV. I gotta find out about that Marcy, the Microsoft guy. That should be really big. I'm just eating a sandwich. I have boiled eggs I was supposed to eat, but I didn't want to crack them open right now, so I just grabbed the sandwich. Okay, Shirley, sounds good. Body cam of this crazy shooting that happened in California. A shootout after a robbery. All right, guys. I will catch you later. Love you. Bye. Bloop, bloop. This is gonna do. Milk dipping out on us. I'm not committing to this whole trial. I'm sorry. There's no way I'm gonna do like 4 weeks or 3 weeks of this again after we just no way. All right, guys. Peace.